listening to the National Defense Radio. Got a couple of great guests today, Air Force veterans. One of our guests, Colonel Chris Elroy Strickland, retired colonel, motivational speaker. He was a Thunderbird solo pilot, worked for the White House, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he's now CEO-level leadership of a 7,000-person strong, $7 billion, with a B, worldwide organization. Joel goes by the nickname of Thor. Neeb is a former F-15 mission commander. He escorted the U.S. president through the sky and flew missions to ensure the safety of the country after the attacks of 9/11. And I believe he was also the top instructor at the Air Force Top Gun School. So let's get started, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Got you loud and clear.
Terrific. So you've written a book. It's called Survivor's Obligation. The gist of it is both of you have survived really horrific circumstances. Chris, you survived a near-death F-16 ejection, and Joel, you were diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, given a 15% survival chance, and here you are. So let's talk about your individual experiences, your near-death experiences. Chris?
Yeah, so, Jerry, I'll start off. This is Chris. My ejection, I was a Thunderbird solo, and my opening maneuver was a max climb split S. I took off, went straight up, flipped over on my back, and did the back half of a loop. And I'd done that a couple of hundred times before, but back in 2003, my entire flight was 25.25 seconds long from takeoff to explosion as the aircraft hit the ground. And as you said, it was deemed an unsurvivable ejection because of the parameters were outside the design envelope of the capability of the aircraft and the ejection seat. So it makes you ask yourself, why me? Why did I survive? And that's what inspired me to work with Joel and ultimately inspired our book as we're moving forward with our survivor's obligation and creating a community of survivors like us.
So what do you attribute your survival to?
You know, first of all, I will say that I attribute my survival to the amazing training that our Air Force and our military has that got me prepared as well as possible for that event to happen. Our training is such that we can compartmentalize our stress and our anxiety, and we can execute like we have planned so that we can make the best of a bad situation. But taking it a little bit deeper, I will tell you, I've asked myself every day since that of why did I survive? What was I left on this earth to do? And have I done it? And that's the obligation. That's the weight on my shoulders as I live every day thinking today could be the day I was left here for, when so many of my flight mates didn't come back from war, didn't come back from a flight, or in Joel's case, didn't make it out of chemo on the other side. So that is the obligation to live every day to its fullest that put the two of us together and banded our firepower to try to move this community forward.
Yeah, well said. Those of us who are still walking around while others aren't, that is a tremendous obligation, responsibility to live up to. Joel, talk about a little bit your experience.
Yeah, so I was a fighter pilot as well. I was a trainer pilot. The one correction I have to make, and I know my friends will give me a hard time if they hear it, is that I was not the top instructor at Top Gun School, but I was the top instructor at flight school at the training headquarters at ATC Air Education and Training Command at Randolph Air Force Base. And so I was having an incredible experience being a pilot. Everything was going fantastic until the worst case scenario happened for me. I had a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, and at the same time, my son, we discovered he had a tumor in his lung, and he was just 3 years old at the time.
Oh, no. So how long ago were you diagnosed?
2010, I was diagnosed, and at the time, I was given 18 months to live. I was told I had about a 15% chance to make it out of this, even to a 5-year point, certainly not 9 years as we're sitting right now and having this conversation. That was pretty much in the realm of the impossible. But here I am, feeling fantastic, and been given another chance. And that's really what Chris and I connected over, and an opportunity to talk about, well, what do you do after that? What do you do when you have that second chance? And then to really look at our lives and realize that we've all been given a second chance.
So did
So
you
if I
two
could jump in, and
Go ahead.
He's leaving a couple of things out, like the fact that since that time he's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and competed on a little competition that I'll challenge him to tell you a little bit about. Joel?
Wow, yeah, let's hear that.
Sure. Sure. So I was on American Ninja Warrior, which if you have young listeners, they'll definitely recognize that. It's it's an obstacle course. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've done it 2 times. So for the last 2 seasons, I competed on the show. And just really way outside my comfort zone, doing stuff that I probably had no business doing at 42 years old. But having a blast doing it, training really hard for it, and that's what it's been about on the other side of cancer, is taking those second chances.
Is that how you got your nickname, Thor?
I got Thor from my flying days back as a fighter pilot. That was a call sign that had nothing to do with anything post-cancer, but a lot of some tomfoolery up in the sky is a mistake that I made.
Well, they had to start calling you Superman.
Not yet. If you talk to my wife, she'd say I fulfill Clark Kent a lot more than I fulfill the Superman call sign. So
you both look the elephant in the eye different ways. You're survivors. You feel an obligation. Tell us how tell us about the Warriors Heart Foundation.
So Warriors Heart Foundation is something I partnered with a few years back as I was looking to find a community to share my stories and find other people to talk about experiences like I had. What I found, and I truly believe, is when we're around people like us that have similar experiences, it allows us to put our walls down a little bit, and that's how we start sharing more and growing from our experiences. So I've been on the board of that organization for just over 3 years now, and it's a great opportunity for warriors to heal warriors as we look at people with PTSD and other addictions as they're moving forward. And ultimately, that's what drove me to partner with Joel, because as we went through the 2.5 years of writing this book, we met every Sunday afternoon virtually, and we talked about some aspect of our lives, some aspect of our experience, and how we were going to relate that. I'll tell you, if you have the chance to read the book, which we would obviously love for you to do, it is not a book about cancer or ejecting from an aircraft. If you walk away from the book and that's what you get, then we've missed the mark. What we really want is something that everybody can relate their individual trauma that they've gone through, whether it's divorce, job change, all those types of things, moving your family. Those are still traumatic events, and you should be able to grow from those and deal with them with people like you.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes, sir.
So is your book out for release right now?
It released on 1 October, and it's been an exciting ride since then. Joel and I share every morning other people. So one of the things that we feel is once we show vulnerability of talking about our experiences and our trauma and our travels through that, what we find is many other people feel the need to open up to us and let their walls down. So we start almost every day. We're always in different places. Like now he's on the other side of the world. And we start almost every day sharing the story that was shared with us individually on the day prior, because that's what we get our power and our passion from, is getting other people in this community to open up about their experiences and talk about how it's similar and how it's different and how we grow into living intentionally each and every day.
Yeah, I think it's great what you're doing. Part of the healing process is certainly looking at it and dealing with it. Too many of us in the veteran community tend to hold things inside, and that's not entirely healthy for most people. But tell us where people can get your book.
So it's available at all major booksellers, Amazon, Books A Million, or through our publisher's website. And we would welcome anybody to dive on it. Let us know what you think about it on the other side, how it applies to you as we move forward to create this community. And
the publisher website address?
Elroy is our publisher, and the website is militaryfamilybooks.com, militaryfamilybooks.com.
Okay, very good. Colonel Chris Elroy, Strickland, Joel, Mr. Thor, Neeb, appreciate your service to our country, and we certainly appreciate what you're doing now to reach out, give people some hope, and thanks again.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate the time to tell our story with you today, and looking forward to continued conversation going forward.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Enjoyed it.
We'll be right back on the National Defense.